Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for this pregame show, and I am joined by Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Hinks, how are we today?
What is up, William?
It is the final 10 o'clock puck drop of calendar year 2024. There's only one left after this season, January 2nd against Vegas. This is exciting. It's exciting. They're wrapping up the road trip. The next time we talk about this team will be the home. Next time we talk about a game day will be the home opener on Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun. Hinkle will be in attendance. Yeah. She will have her phone down and will be leading with the cheering for Matvei Michkov.
That's right.
I love that Bryn made that our social clip.
Did she? I didn't notice. I can't watch them because I don't want to see my own dumb face, so I never watch them. But I'm glad that's good because everyone needs to be crazy on Saturday. I want to see madness. Yeah.
Before we get into the Flyers stuff today, Hinkle, we just have to revel in other people's misery, failures, early season disappointment. If you didn't see this, it came out yesterday right before midnight. It appears that Cutter Gauthier has been demoted to the fourth line and taken off of the power play for the time being. Did not take a shift in the final 8:38 of the second period. Both Brock McGinn and Brett Leeson did not have a shift in the final 7 minutes of the period either. It doesn't appear as if right away Cutter Gauthier is earning that ice time in Anaheim. And I am, for one, absolutely shocked that this kid might have a little bit of an entitlement problem.
Shocked that he gave up on a play.
Yeah.
Ooh,
gave up on something. Gave up on something before really even trying. Really shocking. Listen, I bet you Cutter Gauthier is going to end up being a pretty damn good NHL player. He's got a lot of tools. That said, I will say, and this isn't just, well, he's gone, so I'm going to be bitter. Watching the World Juniors last year, I did sit there thinking a lot, this guy spends a lot of time on the perimeter. This guy, he's big, he's got a good shot, he can skate. Why isn't he more assertive? Just more physically assertive. And listen, it's something you can learn. He's got the tools. We were just honestly saying this about Owen Tippett 24 hours ago, or 40, whatever it was. Days aren't real. But it's a learning process, and I hope he's willing to learn. It didn't, from all reports, doesn't seem like he loves being told that maybe you're not completely there yet, from coaches, management, whoever. I just find this fun.
He might end up being good, but until he is, I'm going to continue to laugh at him being not good.
It
pleases me.
It does. I hate to put it this way because Jamie Drysdale needs to be good because look at this defense. It's not good. They need players badly. Hopefully Jet Luchenko continues to ascend and the center problem isn't as big of a problem as it looks at this very moment, or as it looked a couple of months ago. But you look at this blue line and they need dudes. So Jamie Drysdale needs to turn out regardless. But it does, I feel like there's pressure off of me for Jamie Drysdale. Okay, well, if Cutter doesn't work out, it was bum for bum,
But here's the thing, how annoyed would we all be with a scratched Cutter Gauthier getting in fights with John Tortorella because he dogs it on plays all the time and doesn't backcheck hard enough and nobody likes him and he's just taking lazy shots from the perimeter all the time. And we're like, wait a minute, I thought you were supposed to be good. We'd be losing our minds. So, one or the other.
I will say, what's good for the goose, etc. I don't know what happened, where Matvei Michkov was going right before the Leon Draisaitl goal in overtime. But if you haven't gone back and watched the clip, Michkov just kind of takes off out of the defensive zone. maybe they thought there was going to be a battle in the corner and there would be enough time to get a change. Maybe he thought they were going to win the battle and he'd have an outlet pass. I don't know. But, I don't want to sit here and criticize Gauthier and, that thing have happened. So I don't know what...
Excuse me, how many points does Michkov have? And how many points does William Gauthier have?
Gauthier has a 0. Yeah.
That many points.
I just...
Loser.
Talking about plays where you go, what's going on here? We love Matvei Michkov. I think he's really freaking good. I think he's going to be a superstar for this team. He's already the best player on the team.
He might mess up. There's a difference between messing up and quitting on a play. And Michkov is never going to quit on a play. He might mess up because he's a child and doesn't speak English, but I don't think he's ever going to quit.
And now to the point about, could John Tortorella and Michkov get along? They're telling Cutter he's going to have to earn it, or they're going to make Michkov earn it. Well, even if he did mess up at the end of overtime, here he is, right back in the lineup with Owen Tippett and Morgan Frost, the de facto first line at this point, because I can't imagine we're going to call the Luchenko line the top line.
Not yet.
Even though he is
3-4 more games.
We have Charlie's tweet from Morning Skate. I don't know if we have the official lines yet, but this is pretty much, I think, what they're going to be going with. It is once again Tippett on the left with Frost and Michkov on the right. Luchenko centering Farabee and Konechny.
Oh, that's
Forster. Forster swaps with Farabee alongside Coots and Brink, and then we have Lawton, Paling, Hathaway at forward. Mm-hmm. What do you think of first, the Tippett, Frost, Michkov line? I think you continue to let them build some chemistry, see how far they can go together. I like keeping them together. What do you think of the left wing swap in the middle six, Farabee and Forster?
Interesting. I'm interested to see what Bees looks like with those guys.
Definitely.
that has I think the potential to be a pretty fun 3 guys playing together. And that third line, I think, has the potential to be pretty good too, because Brink has had some issues on defense, you could say. Not the best defensive player. So maybe bringing Forster down with him and Couturier, they can take a little bit more of that off of his plate, and then he can do some fun stuff. I don't know. I mean, I like them mixing it up. This is the time to do it. So I'm excited to see how it looks like.
Yeah, I think stylistically, these lines maybe make a little bit more sense. Mm-hmm. Luchenko, Konechny, that is a fast line. And now you add Farabee, and maybe he's more of a fit. He can play with the pace that those two play with. Mm-hmm. And Tyson Forster, he's really good. We like Tyson Forster a lot, but not the fleetest of foot. You put him on that third line, or 2B, whatever the hell you want to call it, with Coots and Brink. And like you said, Brink, whatever line he's on, you're going to need help defensively. So you have that element with Forster, and Forster and Couturier maybe just more of a fit together with the pace that they play at and their style. It's all of a sudden you have 2 guys who could make up a pretty good checking line, and then Bobby Brink maybe to play a little bit more offense here. And listen, Brink's, I believe, tied for the team lead with 3 points. So he's really good, at least in terms of creating offense. He is, as Steve said in the post game the other night, Bobby Brink giveth, Bobby Brink taketh away. That's just the kind of player he's going to be. It's always been the kind, he's going to score and he's going to be a defensive liability. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he scores enough to offset that. I think putting him with Couturier and Forster makes the most sense. Yes. Limit the damage he can do defensively, and then hopefully, there's still enough offense out there that he can have somebody to play with. But I'm very interested to see Farabee with Luchenko and Konechny, because it seems that's a much better stylistic fit. I want to see guys who can maybe keep up with Luchenko, play more along his lines. And we've seen Farabee up until, the final month or 2 of last season. He's been fast to find chemistry with other line mates. Oh man, he looks really good with Morgan Frost. Oh man, he looks really good with Tippett. He looks really good with Brink. And whoever they put him with for the first 2/3 of last season, we're like, that line looks pretty good. So I'm hoping that this maybe unlocks a little bit for Jet Luchenko tonight.
Me too. I would like to see him get one.
Yeah, definitely. That said, do you think it's a little weird that they haven't tried to work Cates in more than just the one night? They wanted to give Luchenko off, especially with Poehling struggling?
Yeah, Poehling has not been good. So I'm not entirely sure why we are obsessed with keeping him in the lineup outside of John Tortorella really likes him. And this is where John starts to make me nervous because he does this dumb stuff with like his guys where he just like Poehling is his guy. He's never going to come out because he's his guy. And it's like, Cates had a good game. So like, why not? I don't get it. And I also don't get why we can't play Emil Andre one game. Like, I don't get it.
So we just saw we have the speak words, Bill. I just saw we have the official lines for tonight from Line Rushes. So it is what we thought it was.
Okay.
Tippett, Frost, Mish, Farabee, Luchenko, Konechny, Forster, Coots, Brink, Lawton, Poehling, Hathaway. And then we look at that defense, and I thought maybe that's something you want to try to switch up. But no, they're going to keep it the same as well. York, Sanheim, Zamula, Risto, Johnson, Drysdale. We talked about this a little yesterday, Hinkle. Like, all right, maybe they have some sort of deal with Erik Johnson, like until you get to 1,000, your first guy in. We're gonna give you all those opportunities, at least for the first couple of weeks of the season. But it seems a little strange to bring Emil Andre on the trip and not play him once. Now, he's only going to end up missing probably one Phantoms game because they played their opener was last Saturday and they don't play again until tomorrow, Friday. So it's not as if he's missing it like, oh, well, if he needs reps, why is he up here? He only missed the opener probably. But still, it's like, why not get him in?
Yeah, I don't get it. I really just don't get it because it's like the same thing with Cates where it's like, if you know you're going to use this guy at some point, why not get him into one of these games just to see what happens? And I feel like with the defense, I feel like he's going to have to mix it up a little bit at some point because it's not clicking at 100%.
Well, I'm just
like
looking
York
at
Sanheim is really the only pair that has been anything close to good.
Yeah.
And even they have not been great. The other two pairs are rough.
I'm just looking at it and thinking maybe they just don't want to, like, okay, we've talked about how defensive partner chemistry is important. York and Sanheim, they want to have those guys together. Zamula, Risto, all right, they're kind of that de facto third pair if all things are equal. And Johnson, Drysdale, well, Sealer is out. He is practicing and skating, so he hasn't completely disappeared, but he is still not in the lineup. But stylistically, Erik Johnson kind of gives you somewhat of what Nick Sealer does, so maybe you just don't want to mess it up. And let's keep the other two pairs the way we want them and let Drysdale work with Johnson, and then Sealer comes in, and hopefully that's seamless. But Zamula Risto hasn't been good. Like, if you want to find a way to mix it up, put Zamula with Drysdale, bump Erik Johnson out, and have, I just, it seems odd.
It like we were saying with the forward lines, like now is the time to mix stuff up, see what works. Why not mix it up on defense and see if anything sticks? Worst case scenario, it's worse. And so you just put it back the way it was. Okay. Now we know.
Yeah, that's, I just, like, I get maybe, all right, if we take out Johnson, you want to keep the other two lines the same, and you don't really want to put Andre, Drysdale together. I get that. But none of these pairs are good right now.
Right.
So maybe here's your chance. Let's try Zamula Drysdale, see if it goes well. Let's try Andre Risto. Maybe there's something there with big guy and puck mover, you know? Like, I think there's options, but at the end of the day, I can't get too worked up about Emil Andre.
No, not really.
I just saw a comment come across that said, like, I don't think Andre needs to be in. I don't think he needs to be. I just find it odd that he's on the trip. It's not as if Erik Johnson factors into the future at all. He's 36 years old and not very good. Like, I just get him in one. like get him in one, but they didn't.
Whatever.
So be it. Let's move on to the goaltending for tonight, Hinkle. It's going to be Ivan Fedotov. He stopped 26 of 31 in Calgary on Saturday. He's 0-1-0 with an 8.39 and a 5.12 to start the season. Not exactly setting the world on fire to start. I thought he had an up and down start. Was rough early. I thought he made some big saves to keep them in it, but it was kind of a topsy-turvy game by the time he really got going. And we've seen a lot of penalties both ways in games. That they didn't play the cleanest game in front of them. Calgary has started the year very hot. They look good. I don't think they're going to keep it up, but they've started the year hot. I am going to continue to choose to look at Fedotov and his start to this season optimistically. Again, Sam Ersson last year started the season 0-2-1 with a 7.63. And then he had 18 starts where he had a 930 save percentage in those 18. He came around. He figured it out. I am hoping Fedotov can do that. That said, Kolosov gets into a game or two, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I wonder how long, like, if Fedotov continues to be like this, I wonder how long until you think, like, maybe we'll just take a look. I wonder if it would take him, like, would he have to get banged up, like, or would they pull him and be like, no, dude, we're going to try the other guy? Like, I don't know. I don't know the conversation that they had with him when they brought him over here, gave him a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is there, but if he continues to be bad, they're not going to have a choice.
There's so many like unknown conversations that have happened with either of these goalies that you're just like,
I know.
Guess we just have to wait to see how it plays out. Yeah. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to just stick with Fedotov and be like, listen, when he starts 1 out of 3, we have to score 5, like, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But we have got a little bit of mixed messaging about like exactly what they're going to do in like, well, this hurts us to win the game tonight sort of situations, because it was acknowledged that Jet Luchenko, part of the reason he made the team is the centers aren't very good. And in a classic rebuilding sense, in a classic development sense, that wouldn't matter. You'd be like, yeah, our centers are bad, too bad. Like, we're rebuilding. But that's not the way they're doing it. So one of the reasons the youngest player in hockey is our 2C right now, playing with the 2 of our 3 highest paid forwards is, well, yeah, like, well, he helps us win because he's better than, Noah Cates, basically. Yeah. Like, pretty so much. It's we'll figure out, I guess, down the line, but I'm looking forward to seeing Ivan Fedotov tonight and his unconventional
flippity floppity Fedotov. Yeah, I mean,
some might say.
Yeah, I continue to be hopeful that he will figure it out. A lot of people in the comments saying it's been one game. Yes. The problem is that not for one single second in that one game or any of the preseason games before them did he look comfortable in net. Did he inspire confidence in me as a fan watching? Not for a second. So maybe he never will. But if he looks crazy and stops, 25 of 26 shots, like, okay, that's fine. You can look crazy if you're going to stop the puck. But right now he's looking crazy and only stopping the puck sometimes. So we got to work on that a little bit. There is every chance that like midway through the second period tonight, all of a sudden he just figures it out and then he's good. Like, goalies don't make any sense. No one knows what's going to happen. So I'm not writing him off after one game. I just don't. He has not yet given me concrete reason to be like, yeah, he's definitely going to be fine. I don't know.
I think maybe there's a chance they're playing with 3 goalies for a little bit.
Could be.
But it's really going to be impossible to make any conclusions about Fedotov until the sample size is 10, 15, 20 games. Like, you just can't you can't evaluate goalies based on a single game. Like, I've seen the best goalies of all time give up a ton of goals sometimes. It happens.
Of course.
Yeah. I did just see a comment that was like, it makes sense for Fedotov. No, I'm not questioning starting Fedotov tonight.
No, totally makes sense.
Tomorrow's a travel day. You want Ersson at his best for the home opener. With the short turnaround and everything, they have to fly west to east and then play the home opener on Saturday night. Like, at least one guy should be fresh, and it's going to be your starting goalie. So at least you have that going for you. All right, let's hit some bets for tonight, Hinkle. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And now that we have cashed finally our Matvei Michkov goal bets.
Putting those aside, okay.
I am looking at his left winger tonight. I am looking at some Owen Tippett lines. He leads the team with 21 total shot attempts, but only 9 have hit the net. He doesn't have a goal yet, but he was all over the ice on Tuesday. I think he's due. Like I said on yesterday's show, I'm looking at multi-goal score, 2 or more tonight.
Okay.
Is 12-1. I like Tippett for at least 1, and if we're gonna go 1, let's try to get that 12-1 at on 2 goals. Over half a point is -105. He got his first point against Edmonton, primary assist on the first Michkov goal. So you have that. He's gonna start picking up some points eventually. Maybe that was the start of things. 2 points tonight is 5-1. But I think and anytime goal is +175. I think the multi-goal score, the plus 1,200 for 2 or more goals is where I'm going with Owen Tippett tonight. And I forgot to look this up, but just looking at Seattle and what they've done, they've won 2 high-scoring games, 5-4 shootout win at Minnesota, and a 7-3 win at Nashville. And they've lost 2 low-scoring games. 3-2 at home against St. Louis and 2-0 at Dallas. With Fedotov in, I'm thinking the over tonight. Like that's where I would be looking if I was to be betting on the total with our friends at Bet365. All right, this is the PHLY Flyers pregame show brought to you by our great friends at Coors Light. I'll tell you, Hanks, Seattle, I'm not looking forward to it nearly as much because it's not Dave Haxtell on the other side. And like, I just think of him as one of our, like, I don't hate the man personally, but he's like one of our BSH radio enemies.
He's our nemesis.
We spent countless hours calling for his job, criticizing him, hating on the wakeboarding, all of it. Like, I just look at him as a guy, and now he's gone, and Dan Bilesman's in there. I guess I don't
like him either. So we're all set. Yeah, just a new guy for me to. I don't like him.
The worst thing he ever did though was get fired, and Mike Sullivan just showed up in Pittsburgh and was like, "Guys, you're better than everyone. Stop doing dumb stuff." Like, Zach Ronaldo would knock out Chris Letang, and then they'd spend the rest of the game chasing Zach Ronaldo around as Wayne Simmons and Claude Giroux win the game for the Flyers. And it was like, if you guys just play keep away, the other team will never have the puck. And then they did that and won back-to-back cups. So that's the worst thing Dan Bilesma ever did, honestly.
Dan Bilesma also ruined Team USA during the Olympics that time. Terrible coaching during that Olympics.
Who was the
I forget what year it was, but I remember watching the games being like, what is he doing? I don't understand what's happening right now.
I can't remember.
I blamed him.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't we? Couldn't be John Tortorella's fault, obviously.
No, never.
But the Kraken, I was just checking it out. They've played one more game than the Flyers, but 17 different players have scored for the Kraken. They've registered at least a point in these 4 games. Pretty deep team, but I don't know. I'm looking at this one and going, as long as Fedotov isn't terrible, I like the matchup.
It's a winnable game for the Flyers without question.
Absolutely. All right, Hanks. Do we? I guess I should ask. Okay, so we do have super chats. Let's hit those super chats, and then I want to do a little cleanup from yesterday's show to wrap.
Uh-oh.
All right, from JH. All aboard the give Fedotov a bag so that some of the money could be used to buy out Matvei Michkov's KHL contract conspiracy theory train. I don't know if that's exactly how it went, but something happened. Like I have
none of my business.
Yeah, listen. Comcast is going to do what Comcast is going to do. If they have to negotiate with Russian oligarchs through any sort of backdoor, cool. You know,
not my problem.
Kolosov, Fedotov, and Michkov are all here. And I think that bodes pretty well for Zavragin in a few years. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing. We got to keep these channels nice and open.
Nice and open. Grease those wheels.
Grease
all right, and our next super chat from Corey. Tippett needs to do something tonight. Yeah, he looks close to me. I thought he had one of those where the hell is Owen Tippett games early in the season, and now last night or 2 nights ago it was, all right, man, you're everywhere. Just finish. And that starts with hitting the net. That's very much what Owen Tippett has to do, and the goals will start going in. Hopefully a couple tonight.
I feel good about it because I strongly believe that it was your confidence bet on Bet365 that got Matvei Michkov going. So tonight's the night for Owen Tippett.
Tonight is the night. And in terms of the multi-goal scorer, we do have 2 games in a row where somebody scored 2 goals. Konechny in the Calgary game, and then Michkov the other night. Maybe it is Owen Tippett's turn tonight. Let's cross our fingers on that one. And, of course, Vince says, why not us?
Why not?
To wrap up, why not? I mean, anything's possible, Vince. All right, to wrap up, I do want to go back real quick to yesterday's conversation about the draft picks from Edmonton and Colorado. We didn't mention this on the show yesterday, and I honestly just thought, like, I know we're talking about those picks being better than expected, but better than expected is like they're both not in the 30s, you know?
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention that it's worth noting the Colorado first rounder is top 10 protected. The Flyers would get the 2026 pick if the Colorado picks in the top 10. And the Oilers pick is top 12 protected unless they trade their 2026 pick. Then it is an unprotected 2025 pick. So, I mean, it's possible. They definitely want to add, at the deadline. So
if either one of those teams is that bad, though, I would be very surprised. Although Colorado looks like a mess.
They do. Last I checked, the Oilers were tied with.
I think they got a goal.
Oh, they got a goal. Okay. Yeah. Now I don't have the scores in front of me. But yeah, I mean, it's very unlikely that either of these teams are this bad, especially when we're talking about like top half of the draft, top 10 picks, top 12 picks. Colorado does look a mess. They also have enough really good players, I think, to get a wild card spot or something,
Yeah, the Western Conference is weak, so they gotta try real hard.
The Flyers had the 12th pick last year.
Exactly.
They were a mediocre team.
They did not have Nate McKinnon.
They did not have Nate McKinnon or Mikko Rantanen or Cale Makar. Like Gabriel Landeskog supposedly coming back at some point.
Got to figure those guys are going to get it together at some point.
All right. That is all the time we have for you on the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors. Oh, Gary B. Okay. I feel Jet nets 2 goals this evening. I was looking at some Jet stuff. That would be fun. He was close the other night. I did think about Jet, and he is playing with a couple of pretty damn good wingers again.
Sure is.
And this is not nearly the matchup that he had against Edmonton. Like, if he's as quick of a study as we believe he is, well, he learned a lot, I bet, going on for 5 minutes, over 5 minutes at even strength with the best player in the world. Maybe he applies those lessons as quickly as tonight. Why not, Gary? Why not us, as Vince would say? That is it on the Super Chats, right? Okay, yeah, cool. All right, this has been the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. Make sure you are tuned in right here on our YouTube page for the postgame show. It will be Steve Jaco from Flyperbole, Broad Street Hockey, joining us once again for the postgame show. Charlie will join us live from wherever the hell, from Seattle. I know where the game is. We've been talking about it for half an hour. All right, that's it. Make sure you're here for postgame. Thank you very much, Hinkle. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. My name is Bill Matz. That is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. Let's go Flyers.